Monster Island secrets.
What do you want? What do you want from me? What do you want to know my secrets? You want to know my secrets? Ooh, MIB's got secrets. He's so secretive with his mask and hoodie. Ooh. You want secrets? Here's a secret. Here's a secret. I went to the 7-Eleven. I saw take a penny, leave a penny jar on the counter. I took 2 pennies. 2 pennies, all right? You got me. You got me. Yeah, I'm looking at your old Facebook pictures. The ones you put up 3, 4, 5 years ago. I'm looking at them. Oh, this is about the bodies, huh? Oh, my past has finally caught up to me! All right, I'll tell you where to find the bodies. What? You only want to know about Monster Island Buddies Season 6. Okay. Oh, shit. All right. Monster Island Buddies. The season finale of Season 5 really wrapped up a lot of things, so where do you go from there? Back to the beginning, of course! So I get to use my first aid Jet Jaguar soft vinyl, and he is from the Godzilla Island series. Since we're in the past, I'm using different figures for all 3 of the buddies, and the figure I'm using for Rodan would go on to become his twin brother, Brodan. I did write a line in an Orga Reviews, I think, that implied that Rodan purposely made himself not look like his twin.
I love you guys. You're my buddies. Monster Island buddies.
Hey. The 4 of us are Monster Island buddies.
I just fucking said that.
At this point in the show's history, Gorosaurus was absolutely positively the most requested toy to appear on the show, but he was still really expensive and hard to find. When I eventually did get my hands on Gorosaurus, I thought it would be fun to retroactively make it that he was there this entire time. In hindsight, it's absolutely nuts that Gorosaurus didn't appear on the show until episode 65. Because when I interact with fans in person or voice chats or whatever, it's pretty clear to me that he's one of the most popular characters on the show. I probably get hit with more Gorosaurus impressions than every other character combined. Second place would be Gigan and Rodan.
God, yeah, I am so deep inside you.
There's been a lot of kaiju sex on this show, but for whatever reason, this particular scene is just a little extra cringe. Now, in terms of scenery, this apartment that I was living in at the time was absolutely boring. Just all these white walls, and Medical Jet Jaguar against a white wall is just not awesome. And now it's the first of several times throughout the history of the show that Gorosaurus will perform the song Monsters.
Monsters.
Oh, this is awful.
Here's a fun fact. For his first couple of appearances, I would slow down Gorosaurus' voice about 5% or so. I don't do that anymore. I just slowed down how I deliver his lines now. Also, you can tell from his first few appearances that I would kind of roll my tongue over in my mouth when I cough like him, so it sounded a little more like this. Gorosaurus getting shit on for an entire episode and then being written out of the show literally right before the first episode begins is a pretty good setup to make him a villain, and that was an option, but it wasn't high on the list of possibilities at the time I made this. And here comes the first ever instance of his famous catchphrase.
Look what happened.
Like a few other catchphrases, look what happened or variations of it are things that I would say in my circles of friends back when I was younger. We would say things like, now look what happened, or now you see what you've done. I have such a strong association with the first half of this season as just being the white wall season. Manila's diarrhea effect here is achieved by using the same Joker toy accessory I used to make Godzilla look like he's throwing up. I don't exactly remember what liquid I used here, probably iced tea, but the crap on Jet is definitely chocolate ice cream, and I regret making it look so appetizing. I don't remember why exactly, but I did have to clean Godzilla right before this shoot, and you can see from the lighting he's still got a shimmering glare from being wet. The toy looks such a deep raven black in this shot. This is somewhat of a famous Monster Island mailbag now. It's the one where Megalon puts together the no-hand support group. It's also the one where Batra declares he's been with many beautiful women, which, if you've seen the end of Destroy All Godzillas, has been retconned and explained away.
Batra has loved many women.
The backwards episode. Oh god, I was so nervous to post this episode. I was so afraid that it wasn't clear, that the joke wasn't clear. It was such a chance, but it just really speaks to how aimless the beginning of this season was. I was just throwing all sorts of things against the wall. I really debated doing these 30 minutes earlier cards, things like that. But again, I was so nervous people wouldn't understand what's happening in this episode, so I went with the title cards. At one point in time, this episode was titled backwards on YouTube as well, but the way the title did not match any other episode's title was making my OCD crazy. So in the end, OCD beat out creativity. This episode is now kind of blown up to be like one of the top 5 most watched episodes. This is the thing I like about this episode. It's one of the few episodes that really deep dives into Kong's psyche and why he hates Godzilla so much. He's clearly insecure about things, and maybe even the issue is that he wants to be Godzilla. He gets with Jiras and he adopts Manila, sort of, and he genuinely likes them both and is trying.
So, do you like video games?
You're not my real daddy!
God damn it, how do I get through to you?
But this entire episode is just everyone telling him Godzilla's better, Godzilla's Manila's real dad, etc., etc. It's kind of sad. And if you want a really on-the-nose metaphor for his insecurity, well, he's a limp dick monkey.
Why would I want to talk to people about a limp dick monkey?
I love that Space Godzilla says that, but then he clearly told Kaiser Ghidorah. As soon as I started the Christmas tradition, I knew eventually I would do a Christmas Carol parody. So this year I figured would be the year. So like episode 65, we get to view the earlier days of the Monster Island Buddies, and we actually get to see Rodan meet Mothra for the very first time. So here's the ghost of Godzilla future, and I would use this same toy to be the future Godzilla later in this very season. However, this future was avoided, so now Godzilla doesn't wind up looking like this Godzilla. How does anyone follow this show?
You sure I can't show you the future? A major character dies and never comes back. Get out of here, fat future Godzilla.
I'm going to be completely honest to God, I'm not sure who that line was referencing. It might have been referencing King Kong, but there's also a chance it was just a line that was said and didn't mean anything. You could see Frisky the Snowman in the background there, and I'm sure he's popped up in other Christmas specials as well, just as background decor.
A question we've been getting a heck of a lot lately, and here's one from Ricky Ricardo, is, are we aware of the Godzilla movie coming out in 2014, and what do we think of the trailer?
So it's kind of weird to think about this in retrospect, but years and years ago, when people would ask, what do I think about this, or what do I think about that, it always struck me weird because I'd just be like, what do people care what I think? I'm not the kind of guy that rattles off long lists of things I need to see in a movie or things I hope to see. I just want a movie to be good at the end of the day. That's all I care about.
King Caesar's in the house and I'm feeling mighty fine. I'm here to tell you all my favorite number 69.
I think it was the episode 68 comment section, or maybe a different one, where a commenter actually wrote, episode 69's coming up, there better be a King Caesar rap. Now, I think what happened was Ron actually saw the comment before I told him about it, and he took it upon himself to make the rap before I could even ask him. Now, full disclosure, there's an absolute chance I'm confusing this rap with another rap that he saw a comment on and just volunteered a rap. But either way, it just goes to show how excited he used to get when people would request him. So episode 69 wraps up the Kong plot, or so we think at the time it does. And the original plan was to make this a whole season thing with Manila needing rescuing, but I wound up wrapping all this stuff up prematurely so that I could swing the season into another direction soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking.
I, honest to God, don't remember what flight this was or where I was going, but I do remember that it was an unusually empty plane. I was able to jump in a row of 2 seats and sit in the aisle seat while filming Godzilla at the window seat at one point. Also, I've been on many flights, and I can attest that every single airline pilot ever sounds like my pilot impression here.
We really appreciate you choosing us.
And here is Manila breathing his atomic breath for the very first time. I like the both ends joke.
So both ends.
So then, am I logged in as YouTube or Google right now?
Yeah, that's the thing.
So right around here was when Google was really pushing Google Plus, and I hated it. Suddenly my Blogger account, my YouTube account, and all my Google-related accounts were automatically given Google Plus pages, and people were writing on the Google Plus pages like I was maintaining them, but I wasn't. And Kaiser Ghidorah's frustrations here are legitimately my real frustrations. At points, I didn't know if I was on YouTube's page or Google Plus's page. I hated it. So this episode here is now when things really start going. This is kind of recapping that the good monsters and bad monsters are still within a truce. And I'm kind of just putting the chess pieces into place here. So Grand King Ghidorah makes his grand entrance. And here you start to see hints that Kaiser Ghidorah, while he believes in his father's ideology, is a lot more progressive and relaxed about things, while his father is extremely old school.
It's hard to be a Petra on Monster Island. No singing. No. Move along.
Orga is being uncharacteristically mean to Patra here. Also, check it out. The decal on my iPad switched from the Mario Brothers mushroom to the What Would Godzilla Do sticker. I completely forgot I had that at one point. So weird to see this version of Ultraman since he's been reinvented since the Paradox. Here it is, 1.0000000 years into the future, which basically means 1 year in the future. Duh. This is one of the few times in the show's history I did such a mid-season pivot. One of the things that happened was that I pinpointed what I didn't love about this season, and it's that it didn't have any mysteries to solve. I find that the seasons that have little mysteries, who done it, who did this, how'd that happen, are the ones that are more engaging for the audience. So with my little Days to Future Past parody here, I was able to bring that back into the season. So in this version of the future, Godzilla has changed forms. Somehow Jet Jaguar lost an arm. I know what's funny is that when we're panning the wreckage, we can actually see Jet's arm right next to Jesus from The Big Lebowski. And we can even see Mechagodzilla's old time travel antenna.
Megalon? You shut your mouth and do what you're told, Holmes!
Oh, this was fun. This was when I was having fun again, because now Gigan's General Gigan. Mothra is still in space, and it's clear that the Ghidorahs somehow took over Monster Island. Check it out, there's the Monster Island frog hiding in the background there, in a non-April Fool's episode. Batra's first appearance in adult form on the show was actually a flash forward. A year into the future, he has transformed and is working for the Resistance. So in this future, Titanosaurus has reverted back to the smart version, and behind him you can see the Final Cut Pro editing track, which is probably for the very episode that you're watching.
Wait, Titan... How?
He got hit in the head during the Great War.
Just remember Jet saying that for later. So to do this Days of Future Past plot I wanted to do, I had to redefine how time travel works on this show. Because up until this point, it's always been that you cannot change anything, whatever happened rule. And that's why it had to be a different character besides Mechagodzilla that invented this time travel. Titanosaurus's method of time travel sets off all sorts of tangents in the timeline and alternate realities and stuff like that.
I've invented a new means of time travel. Rather than set up and resolve loops within the confines of our own space timeline, this time travel method creates an alternate timeline, and this new tangent universe will erase the original. Harumph.
Episode 72 starts with a recap of 71, but instead of 1.000 years, this time I wrote it as 0000001 years into the future, which is still just 1 year, you math geniuses, you. So now the Godzilla from the future has arrived in our present day, and one of my favorite jokes ever occurs.
Ah! Oh, shit. I wonder what catastrophic way that's gonna change the future. Well, I guess that's not so bad.
Also, that's the same fedora that comes from that same Joker figure. So remember how I was complaining about the white walls earlier in the season? Well, you can see in the later half of the season that I'm making a visible effort to add some background and color into the show. And it starts at Caesar's Palace, the very first look at King Caesar's nightclub. You got Gypsy Danger in the background there, a little bit earlier than his official introduction into the show. And this was a fun episode. It's always fun whenever I can jump around the island and kind of show what everyone's up to. And here it's cool that every character has a real motivation for why they might break the truce.
If you care for me, you'll help me get revenge. Hola.
I was mixing things up here by having Mogira say hello in different languages.
Let's play
Human Island Buddies! Yay! On Monster Island, they play Human Island Buddies. I don't know, I thought that was clever. Okay, so for anyone that didn't catch it at the time, here's what happened. With Mothra exiling herself into space, it was pretty easy for the Ghidorahs to take over Monster Island. Future Godzilla goes back to the present and is trying to figure out who broke the truce that led to this. Here, when Batra finds the good monsters, we learn that he can communicate with Mothra. Rodan asks him to send her a message, but after King Ghidorah teases Rodan, Rodan says forget it, don't send the message. However, future Godzilla can't resist seeing his old friend Rodan and gives him a big hug and tells him every moment counts. Because of this one simple action, the timeline has now tangented. And Rodan decides that yes, every moment does count, and he will have Batra send Mothra the message, which winds up bringing her back from space, and saves us from that awful future a year from now. Time travel. In episode 73, we jump 1 year into the future again, this time represented as 1/1, which again equals 1 geniuses. And look at how Ultraman sold out and is straight up on the bad guy team. Because they have a good dental plan, he says.
Damn right you won't talk, cause you'll be dead.
I don't know why when General Gigan stabs future Jet Jaguar, it makes kind of sound instead of a metal sound, but it annoys me to this day if it makes you feel any better. And now we learn how Gigan became General Gigan. Basically, his friends gave him a motivational VHS that teaches you how to be badass, and Gigan watched it a few too many times. And you can't see the puppet's shirt, but it says Extreme Esteem. That's actually meant to be the name of the tape Gigan's watching. Extreme Esteem.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
What are you talking about?
King Kong ain't got shit on me is a line that Denzel Washington made famous toward the end of Training Day. Now, the question here was, Godzilla, can you draw your life? And Manila draws these two cute little birds, and what I actually did was I dug up an old art folder of like elementary school or high school art and pulled out the birds from that. So that was something I'd drawn, but like years and years before this. Also very interesting that Manila signs the art Minya. Alright, here we go. Episode 74, the official movie trailer. An April Fool's episode. Probably one of the only April Fool's episodes I started working on weeks in advance. And boy, oh boy, do I still get comments for this video to this very day. So if it wasn't obvious enough, the joke here is that rather than continue the new plot threads I've started up, I'm gonna reboot the entire series from the beginning and do it in stop animation.
Fuck you!
But this is an April Fool's joke, it is fake, I never once, even a little bit, intended to actually do this. And yet I still get comments that people are still waiting for this movie. Also, I just want to rewind to this green card here that says the following preview has not been approved for all audiences by the Motion Picture Association people. I did this stop animation pretty much the same way I did it like as a kid. I just basically recorded a little, moved the toy, recorded a little, didn't use any smoothing software or anything like that. Very old school, but that accounts for the like inconsistent flickering lighting you'll see in some of these animations. This was a hard skit to do because I was at the mercy of only utilizing the existing SH monster arts, so I couldn't show any scenes with Jet, I couldn't show any non-fire Rodan scenes. Titanosaurus says April Fools, and then even to subscribe is in freaking web things. How did you not know this was a freaking joke? God damn it.
Hey, man.
Why not start an episode with Godzilla getting high with King Caesar and Baragon, I say. Episode 75 serves to tie up the first half of Season 6 with the second half of Season 6. The one who broke the truce? Gorosaurus, but it was a complete accident. He didn't even know there was a truce. The mastermind behind this entire thing? King Kong! I love it when a plan comes together. So by the time this season ends, I actually have a really clear idea of some things I want to happen down the road, and one of those things was a big reveal that Anguirus can talk and is kind of manipulating a lot of events that have already happened on the show.
I didn't know you won that trip.
Well, someone slipped the tickets under my door. I'd figured I'd won a contest.
One such event is here when Jet Jaguar brings up his trip to Las Vegas all the way from Season 1 for apparently no reason. While he's saying that, the camera is on Anguirus, and I was terrified that I was making this too obvious, but I'm glad it wasn't something people really caught.
It's a trap!
What is this, the second time on this show that I had Admiral Akbar pop up and yell it's a trap? I gotta find that figure and do this gag again. So now the timeline is really diverging because, as I said earlier, Mothra returns from space, and she even uses the line "every moment counts" that future Godzilla told Rodan. So clearly he stole the line from Mothra.
Batra delivered your message to me, and you're right. Every moment does count. So I came back for you.
So clearly he stole the line, used it with Mothra, and inadvertently saved the entire future. And then as part of that, during the battle with the Divine Moths, Gigan's tape gets destroyed, which means he can't watch it every day, which means General Gigan never happens. And while General Gigan gets erased from history, and then also the same with Godzilla, at the very end you can hear a quack from the space-time pair of ducks. Oh, and remember the reference to the boulder smacking Titanosaurus and making him smart so he can invent time travel? Well, in this version, Baragon is able to move Titanosaurus, so the boulder misses him.
And you kept me prisoner for years!
It's a really nice wrap-up to the season that Gorosaurus is the one that kills King Kong.
He's dead!
You might have caught that when a character dies and Rodan's present, he tends to punctuate it with a, "He's dead!" I might be wrong, but I think this is the first time in the series that happened. So episode 75 kind of turned into the kickoff of Act 3 of the first 100 episodes of Monster Island Buddies, because from here on out, it is all about this Monster Island war. We even get the first mention of the prophecy Mothra had, where somebody will rise and lead them to victory in the war. And that's how Season 6 goes. It started out as kind of an aimless season, and then it all came together in beautiful harmony and set the stage for the third act of Monster Island Buddies pre-Paradox. That means the next Secrets video will be for Monster Island Buddies Season 7. I cannot believe we are that far in already. I will do Secret 7 when the channel crosses 135,000 subscribers. So if you're a big fan of the channel but you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button so we can inch closer and I can reveal more Monster Island secrets.